let me take you behind the curtain for how he picked the play of the game. It's usually just a text message with me and Brent, so it's nothing super elaborate. But I'm leaving Mike Leach's news conference after the Georgia and Mississippi State game. And for about 2 minutes, and it's 2 weeks in a row that he's done this, he just begins being very critical of his wide receivers. And he says they're very nice, they're good people, and they're solid players, but they're just not the kind of gritty, game-changing, nasty receivers. He said that the best receivers he had just kind of had some kind of oomph about them that just made them dominant. And he pretty much was saying that he doesn't have that right now. And so in that vein, I texted Brent and I said, play the game. Like I'm walking back to my car from Davis Wade Stadium. I'm texting Brent and said, play of the game is McConkey, right? And he said, yeah, it's McConkey. And then he gave a couple extra options. We kick it around for a second and yeah, it's McConkey.
Well, especially when the way the game was, because of the absolute just crap show that was the end of the first half. And now you went from a game that you should have been completely dominating to, hey, this is now a game. We got to, and come out in the second half. And I think second play of the second half, do this. It was all right. We're coming out refocused, re-energized, foot on the throat, get out of our way. We're the best team in the country.
That was pretty much what it was. And McConkey is just a little superstar in so many different ways. So he's off the screen here on this view from this is from the sky cam, but he comes in tight. You see this quickly here where he comes in tight and he gets set, and then it's an immediate kind of jet this way as it's a fake toss to McIntosh this way.
Well, a couple things. One is formation. Rosemy-Jacksaint is on the right side. So you can see all 11 defenders on the screen right now. Also, so this is an overload formation, right? You got Bowers and Rosemy-Jacksaint on the line of scrimmage on the right, and then the other guys in the backfield there. So now you've got sort of almost an unbalanced type look. This is tendency breaker. Traditionally a heavy run right, oftentimes just straight up the gut, little duo action, or the toss right. It's heavy run out of this formation for Georgia. McConkey usually is coming down into this formation to help block as they want to sort of, almost triple team, double team the guy that's right over top of Darnell and Bowers at that point. So great tendency breaker, great just use of misdirection. It's how you mess with these defenses, because you get with so few defensive linemen, you get linebackers flowing and hit them with misdirection. That's how you hit big plays in the running game against this type of defense.
Open field speed, toughness to be able to break kind of ankle disruptions or ankle tackles. I mean, anytime that you get 0 out in the open field as a lead blocker, that's a win for Georgia to me.
He's just so good. He's a first rounder. He's a top 35 pick. I think he goes in the first round because of what he can do as a blocker and receiver. And we saw it. I mean, this was the most Darnell targets that he'd ever had in the game, by the way. He had 8 targets. But just unreal. And then Ladd does a phenomenal job of just making the cut on this play and being patient, because right here he could kind of made a cut and then try to get that guy one-on-one, but he stays patient with Darnell and maybe gets that defender to sort of suck inside of Darnell and then go outside of Darnell. But once that guy turns his hips toward the sideline, he's beat, because Ladd's too quick. Broderick does a good job of getting in the way. Yeah, Broderick does a good job of getting in the way. I really wish he would have been looking more downfield. And we've talked about this before, how he has a tendency to kind of look backwards. But it worked out here.
I agree with you, but in the way of the officiating when this game was pretty ridiculous anyway. So I had wondered if maybe players were just trying to be a little cautious and not draw anything extra, just because it had already been a little chippy with officials here. So I had wondered if this is, let me get in the way and do the safe thing here, because I saw this on this play with Broderick, but then a smaller version of this of just like get in the way, make an impact, and kind of slow a guy is Rosemy just letting this guy know I'm here.
I was when it happened live, I'm watching it and I'm like, is that a flag? Is that a flag? Like my sons are sitting there watching the game with me and I was like, hey, is that a flag? Did you see a flag? Because I was wondering about that. But the Broderick can't hit the guy because now you get the 15-yard sort of blindside thing. But go back to the first clip real quick. And if I'm Brian McClendon, I'm talking to Rosemary Jacksaint and saying, look, you don't have to do this right here if you bust your tail off the line of scrimmage. If you watch him off the line of scrimmage, he's kind of in 3/4 mode off the line of scrimmage. Watch him on the right side of the screen.
I'll back it up to the very beginning.
Yeah, because you can see it better on the Skycam one. But if I'm like, you just look at the right side of the screen, he's just kind of If he sprints to get to that guy's right shoulder, to get to where he can get inside of him, that guy has no chance. He's not even involved in the play at all.
Really good point.
So
he makes up for it the best he can without drawing a penalty, because I thought the same thing. I was like, man, if he blocks in the back here, that's not going to be good.
And the other thing with that's a couple of different things. One, just data from Ladd. Ladd, the last 4 games, 20 touches, 442 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He obviously had a struggle bus middle of the season, 3 straight games with an overall grade under 60. So sort of replacement level. Drops, all the issues, just struggle bus mentally too. You could tell. And he's completely turning around. And when Georgia gets this playmaker Ladd, it's a different level. Now, one thing I did do as I was looking at this, he does obviously have a running start, but I hit the clock when his foot got to the 40. And then when his foot, so right there, I hit the clock, and then right again, I hit the clock when he hits the goal line, 4.13 seconds.
Woo!
Like I said, obviously he's got the running start. He's not, from a dead start, but that's still pretty good. That's pretty fast. That's probably getting, it's probably getting in the low 20s on the GPS.
Fastest player from Chatsworth, I promise you that. Other thing I want to point out about McConkey here, and this is like probably a pretty common thing, but a lot of players screw this up. So he starts kind of running horizontally before he turns it upfield. But the whole time that he has the ball, it is in the outside hand to the sideline. And too many times in college football, this will start in the wrong hand, and then they get right about here where they turn upfield, and they have to shift it over. Well, obviously, there are more players that could make that problematic and cause a potential fumble. That's just really good mechanics and someone that played football a lot and just does the little things the right way.
Yep. I actually had this same sort of thing happen to me personally in a game in high school, and it's where you're getting close to the end zone. You've done all this, and you're kind of running out of gas just a little bit, and that other guy's catching you, and you got to kick your feet up a little bit. It's like you're high stepping, but you're not. That was a great job by him not to come down there, be strong, run through it. Both times, actually. And
I love celebrations of like, I know what's happening here.
House call.
Darnell's like, you go on, bro. I know. I've seen this in practice. I know what you can do. Darnell's like, I did my job. Now you do yours.
Well, I mean, we saw it earlier in the year, right, from Darnell with on Bowers touched like 75-yard touchdown run or however many yards that was, where he's just going down the field all celebrating like crazy. He knows what these guys are about.
You can't see it on either of these angles, but I was in the back end zone kind of looking at this from this way, and Kenny McIntosh stopped right about here, and he just did the like pointing toward. He really did. It's a first down motion, but like he just stopped and celebrated, and
just go.
He stood there for probably 15 seconds just holding that pose. Stetson Bennett went and chased McConkey to the end zone, and then he gave love to all the blockers. But this was a very game-changing play, I thought. After you said the debacle in the second quarter to end, Mississippi State gets an easy touchdown. Georgia comes out, does this, and it just completely – I mean, this was a 5-point game at this stance. And so if this gets closer, Mississippi State's totally in this. And really it took just a stellar second half from Georgia to pull away, because State played a decent football game. And Mike Leach even said that he thought that they were really prepared for Georgia and mentally played them better than Mississippi State played Alabama.
I mean, I disagree with that, but we'll see. They played Alabama. To me, if Bryce Young isn't Superman, that game against Alabama is very, very difficult. Georgia did what they wanted for the most part. Outside, I mean, the running game issue was a thing, but it's just going to be like, it's not, and especially with how Georgia runs the ball. And I think that was one of those things where they almost treated this game in a way as a practice. It seemed like, hey, we're going to work on our inside zone game, because basically everything was zone running. And okay, but this play, like you said, completely changed the complexion of the game. It was completely hey, we're the best team in the land. We're about to show you.
If you want to have the best coffee in the land, it's Jittery Joe's. I've been telling you about this, the National Champions Limited Edition coffee that you need to get from the in-store at any of the Northeast Georgia locations, or jitteryjoes.com. If you are holiday shopping for someone in your family that's a Georgia fan, this is just one of those cool keepsakes where they get some really darn good coffee. This is kind of halfway between a light and a medium roast, and I just do the drip coffee at home. I tell you all the time that I don't endorse stuff through UGAsports.com if it's not products that I use myself. As we're doing this, I have some ASW Distillery whiskey. This is their bourbon beside me here. So like, that's for a different show. But what I'm saying is I consume this stuff long before we were partners with them. And that's totally been the case with Jittery Joe's all the time. They're just really good people. It's Athens' favorite coffee. You need to go check it out. jitteryjoes.com. This can will be a great keepsake. You can find its link directly to this can in the comment section underneath this video, or just go to jitteryjoes.com. You'll see it all over there, along with plenty of other great coffees as well. We need to wrap up this Film Don't Lie, because we have one more if you're watching live, and we are going to look at Jalen Carter and just gush. Woo, my God.
He might be the best player in the country, regardless of position.
And we will show you why if you're watching live. Stay with us, but go to our channel and make sure you subscribe to that, and then see us restart there. If you're watching on demand, just subscribe anyway, and you'll make sure you see all the future Film Don't Lies. For Brent Rollins, I'm Dayne Young. We'll see you next time.